right? We got ourselves a TvZ. I'm going to go for the eBay block. 220 is the time when most Zergs want to put down that first hatchery. And so in order to get across the field, which takes 45 seconds, by 220, you need to leave by like 1:15 or something. But I like to leave a little bit earlier. I leave as soon as I begin my supply depot. I send another SCV off there. And by blocking the Zerg's McFirst hatchery McDonald's, you can sometimes, I mean, he's got a couple of choices, right? He can throw down his pool then and eventually knock down your eBay, and that's a pain in the butt. He can pull a bunch of drones and knock down your eBay, which is even more of a pain in the butt for him. He can make his first expansion somewhere else, which is even more of a pain in the butt for him, or he can one base. So we do the eBay block into a command center first, planetary fortress, just like Mr. Catrock, and what you're hoping for is that causes him to all in, and then he all-ins, or he one bases and runs into a PF, and now he's just like, oops, now I'm way behind, kind of thing. But sometimes when he chooses one of the other options aside from one basing, you can get economically pretty far behind. So it's important to kind of figure out what he's doing, and then make sure to take your third pretty quickly if you think that he's going to go to 3 bases pretty quickly. There's also the idea of the fake push, but I don't know. I feel like the 3 Marines, 3 SCV fake push thing is really effective if he was trying to get by with only 4 lings. But if he makes like at least 8 lings, then there's no way that, there's no way you need to do that, because if he already has 8 lings, he's just going to kill your 3 Marines and 3 SCVs. Or whatever. So mostly I don't do that. So I saw him throw down that quick third, the quick expansion in a weird other place. So now I'm going to go for a quick command center of my own. And it also, to me, even though I didn't scout his main, it means that he's probably didn't go for pool first, because if he did, he probably wouldn't have thrown down a hatchery, wouldn't have been able to afford it, because he would have been spending that money on a queen and stuff like that. So I've got that CC right down at my natural, and I'm only going to put 2 guys on each gas. Well, I'm going to start with 3 guys on each gas, and then I'm going to pull 1 off of each, and try to get my third command center up as quick as I can. So I'll use a Viking to clear the way to take that middle right base as a third, somewhere around like 10 to 12 minutes, to try to make up for the fact that he's going to be on 6 gas pretty early. So we need to cancel that eBay whenever he comes to squish it, so that we don't lose the money. And we need to get a PF as fast as possible. You notice that I did gas before racks. Catrock always does racks and then double gas and then eBay. But I've lost a couple of games where 6 or 8 lings show up at my command center and kill it before it can morph into a PF. So I want to be able to morph it into a PF right as soon as it finishes building. So PF. I actually, doing it this way, ended up with quite a bit too much gas, but that just means that I can get PF range even earlier than I normally would. And I'm going to throw down a bunker on the low ground, because I'm not really sure whether or not... I don't think the PF covers the entire range over to the side. So I think it's possible for him to skip my natural altogether without getting hit at all by the PF and just run right up to my main, which would be really bad. But again, because he threw down that hatchery off in a weird place, he's going to also want to take his natural. So with 3 hatcheries early on, I don't think he's going to be attacking me with anything very soon. So I'm going to get up to 4 gas geysers, but not really mine ridiculously from them. I like to do it just out of laziness so that I don't have to remember to build the gas geysers later when I want the gas. As soon as my third command center starts, I want to be immediately mining from 4 geysers. So I'm going to pull all but 1 dude off of mining from each of 4 places. So I'll still have 4 guys mining like I did before, but they'll be in 4 places. And I'm also getting that factory up, because I need the Viking early enough so that he doesn't get too much scouting information on what I'm doing. I don't really want him to see all of my starports and stuff, Not that I'm trying to hide it or anything, but having a Viking will tend to make him send all of his overlords home. And also I want to have a starport in place in case I need a Banshee, because if he does do some sort of roach and having one Banshee out can just be insanely helpful. So getting an early starport. And here's that scouting overlord. Pretty common for Zerg to try to get an idea of what I'm doing around 7 minutes, because that's when, if I was sending Banshees to him, I would have, he'd be able to see it. And if I was doing reactored Hellion kind of stuff, he'd be able to see it. And if I was making a quick early third command center, which is very common these days, he would be able to see that too. And so he could react by saying, oh, 3 command centers, I better, get tons of economy of my own and not worry about defense. Or he could say, oh, 3 starports, I better make a bunch of spores, or, whatever. So suicide in his little OV is pretty common. There's my third command center. I'm going to try to make it in a place where you can't see it. He does have an overlord sitting just south of my natural, but I don't think it can quite see that from here. And building armor and PF range are going to be my top priority upgrades. Now that, like I said, now that I've started the third command center, it's time to emphasize gas, because once you start Raven production, any backlog of gas will easily be spent. So from here, my main goal is just to, a Viking, a Banshee, and then mass Raven from there. And you can pretty much win in TvZ with only Ravens, which is weird because it's the only matchup where that's really true. Where you can just take one unit and win the whole game with it. I'd like to say that you can do that with Marines in any matchup, right? But not really in higher leagues. So another laziness thing, like when I got my 4th geyser before I was actually willing to mine any gas, I'm going to start researching Blue Flame before I actually even get any Hellions. Just because I don't want to have to try to remember it later. I'm eventually going to want Blue Flame, so I might as well get it early instead of late. So here's my CC ready to go throw himself down on that 3rd. And you can see it's early enough so that it's pretty likely he's not going to really respond to it. Like when you go with the typical 3rd base timing of around 12 minutes or 12 to 14 minutes or whatever, I'd say 12 minutes is pretty typical. Zergs will be ready to stop it. They'll have made a little army and they'll contest it and try to make sure you can't morph it into a PF. But when you take a super early 3rd like this, then often you can just get it to a PF before he even notices it's going down. So waiting until that Viking knocks down the what's it called? The Overlord, and then I'm just going to immediately float right over and PF it. Now this is kind of a risk because he might block me with a single Ling, and normally you'd want to bring a couple Ravens along with it so that if he tries to block you with Lings, you can prevent that, and you could bring 2 command centers with 10 SCVs, and if he tries to block you with mutas, you throw in a bunch of turrets and auto turrets and stuff. But trying to brute force an Expo wastes a bunch of Raven energy and all that kind of stuff. So if he's going to let me get it early, I'm going to get it early. And by spending the extra minerals to attempt this, worst case, he blocks it, and then I just have to float home and still take the Expo at the same time I would have anyway. So it's not that big of a risk, and it looks like it's paying off, so that's great. I'm going to try to clear the watchtowers with my Viking. Just 'cause. But he's got a lot of Lings there. Yeah, I'm not going to fight those. Usually it would have been a Viking and then a Banshee and then Ravens from there, but I skipped the Banshee because he doesn't have any army at all. And there's a Queen out there spreading creep. Spreading von Creepington. Typically a Zerg that's going to be aggressive early on, and I know it's not really that early on anymore, is not going to have a Queen out there dedicated to spreading creep, because that's money he's taking away from the size of his push. So that's another indication so far that he's going to be playing pretty passive. And whenever a Zerg wants to play passive, almost guaranteed to see mutas. Unless you've told him that he should do something else by throwing Banshee tank at him or something. If he hasn't seen anything from you and he's playing pretty passive, then probably mutas, just to get an idea of what you're building and to be able to pull you in multiple places at once and to be able to fight any air units you send. Mutas are just like the go-to. Even if he doesn't make a ton of them, everyone will make some. Not everyone, but almost everyone. So we're up to... Here's the mutas. Hey mutas, how's it going? So we got turrets everywhere, and it's important to over-turret and to quickly pull to repair the turrets, because usually when you're making a bunch of marines and mines, even if all the turrets fall, you can just clean it up with your marines and your mines. But we don't have any marines or any mines, so if the turrets fall, we're dead. So you just make way too many turrets, and that's fine. And turrets only cost minerals, and minerals don't matter once you have like 5 bases up, so it's fine to overspend minerals on turrets. And now that we've got turrets everywhere, we're going to throw down this second factory and start pumping Hellbats. A lot of the times when a Zerg is pretty aggressive early on, I'll lose enough SCVs where I have way too much gas and not enough minerals, and then I can't do Hellbats as effectively. And that makes me ever so sad. But this Zerg is playing quite passively, waiting until mutas to even make anything more than the 8 lings or so that he started with. So that means I get lots of Hellbats, man. The more passive the Zerg, the more Hellbats I get. Let's put some more turrets around this secondary PF. Getting the second PF means that it'll just buy me lots of time, because sometimes I'm too slow to repair my PF, and then if you just have 1 PF, then now you have nothing. But if you're too slow to repair and you have 2 PFs, you can knock one down, and then you repair the second one. There's also, it prevents him from doing, like, spread out your roach all around in a big circle around a PF and focus it down kind of thing, because then they'll go into range of the second PF. And it's also same deal with banelings and ling kind of stuff. Like, if you fully surround a PF with lings and use banelings to clean up the repairing SCVs, it can be scary. But when there's 2 PFs, it's not scary at all. So he's going to harass over here with mutas a little bit, but best case for him, he kills the gas geyser, and that's no big deal. And you want to wait until you know exactly where his mutas are, and then send your ravens somewhere else, so that you can have the turrets down before you get intercepted by the mutas. And I'm going to try to get that other base down. And again, because I mostly care about gas and not minerals, I'm not going to knock down those rocks. I'm just going to put 1 CC next to each gas geyser, and then I'll be able to mine gas. Plenty. Mine plenty o' gas. So here we go, knocking down this base with my ravens. Now, this is kind of a mistake, but I've already done it, so it's not like I can take it back. Basically, if you know where the mutas are and you send the ravens somewhere else, you're going to get to take out a base. But taking out his main is way more important than taking out some distant expansion. So I'm knocking down his 4th, maybe his 3rd, and at the same time I sent some Hellbats over to the base just north of his main, and he does actually, I saw him building that base there. He actually canceled it, so he doesn't have a base there. So it looks like he's really on 3 or 4 base at this point, and I'm on 4 base. So this is great. It's nice to have a bigger economy than your opponent, man. I mean, this build was kind of meant to win on efficiency with a smaller army than your opponent. So when you also get to have more money than your opponent, that's like just double whammy of goodness. A double goodness whammy. We got ourselves some corruptors and roaches. I'd say corruptor roach is the most common response, and in my opinion, one of the best responses to mass raven. Because roaches take out auto turrets without dying, especially if you burrow them and heal them up, so that you just make sure you never lose a roach. And looks like swarm hosts too, the back orgasm people. And lots of seekers going off. Pew pew pew. So I'm not really at all worried about the back orgasm people, because it takes so long for them to get anything accomplished through PFs with armor upgrades and people repairing them, that it just gives me time to go and harass his economy. So the harassment I feel like that ravens do is much more effective than the harassment of these whatever the heck they're called. Swarm hosts, yeah. Also, it takes 2 seeker missiles to kill a swarm host, and swarm hosts cost less than ravens. So it's not very effective to try to kill the swarm hosts. It's better to just ignore them and repair, and then send your ravens somewhere else. So that's what I'm going to do. You can see I've got my half of the map minus 1 base. If I could get that distant left base or the next base down on the bottom right, then I would have half the map. But there's a little bit too much going on. I can't spare the APM to go try to take one of those bases. We're going to get some more seeker missiles on corruptors. We got our BCs out. Lots of turrets, so that if he tries to come and kill our air units, he's going to lose more than he gains while he's in that mode. So in general, you want to go around swarm hosts, but there's only 5 of them, and I feel like if I kill this small group now, it might be efficient enough that it makes sense. Maybe I should have gone around. I don't know. But it's just so tempting. Like, you have to put your units there anyway to defend against those corruptors. You might as well try to kill the swarm host. But now he's got a ton of them. So I'm going to throw some seeker missiles and then get the heck out of here, because that's way too many swarm hosts. Bye. Oh, maybe I can kill him. Maybe not. Stupid corruptors. He's got creep spread to both of the places that I want to expand next, which means I have to send some ravens over there to clear out the creep. But that just means that I can't have my ravens fighting these swarm hosts, which is annoying. So I should be clearing out the creep on the left and right, or counterattacking his main, or just saving up this raven energy instead of constantly throwing it away. But I'm getting too caught up in this little back and forth battle with the swarm hosts, which is a mistake, because when I knocked down that base of his, it was 3 bases for him against 3 or 4, 3.5 for me. And if I just focused on preventing him from getting new bases up, then it would work out a lot better than I think just fighting units versus units. And it'd also be really nice to have a second PF against swarm hosts so that they can't get this full concave like that. But I don't think I have enough raven energy to go camp his main or something. Maybe I do. I don't know. I'm gonna try to kill these swarm hosts again, because now I have BCs, right? Oh, but I gotta hide behind turrets. Pull the corruptors in over the turrets. I'd like to be sending a couple Hellbats to each of other spawn locations to pull his armies out of position and force him to respond and stuff, but right at the bottom of my main ramp is this stuff, so gotta redistribute my SCVs a little bit too. I keep getting my attention distracted by these swarm hosts because it's so much fun to imagine that I could kill them. Once I'm done researching Yamato, maybe I can just Yamato a swarm host every once in a while and never lose any units. BCs and ravens. So I made all these CCs so that I could take additional bases, but I haven't. I guess I'm going to send them now. I'll send some CCs, 2 over to the left and 2 over to the right, and then like that's a commitment on my part. Like, you can do it. You can get your ravens over there to clear creep. We'll see if I remember. PDDs, BCs, and seeker missiles. Oh no, he finished a bunch of spores. The spores shoot fast enough that they kind of eat up these PDDs a little. But all of his corruptors died. That was pretty sweet. Ugh. I keep fighting army versus army. I gotta stop that. Alright, this time I'm going around. None of this fighting swarm hosts nonsense. If he kills that base, so be it. We'll just make it take a long time. Swarm hosts are super slow. He can't move them over to where he wants them, so fight somewhere else. That's the key, man. Fight somewhere else. Stupid creep. Oh, there's a little area without creep over by one of the gas geysers. I can start mining gas without having to clear anything. Take that. I gotta get some SCVs over here to repair. So knocking down this base ensures that it's 4 base versus 4. I'd like to be up a base, but it's not really important. Usually you can win even being down a base, so it's just being selfish wanting to be up a base. Well, let's creep. We've got this area with auto turrets to fall back on if we need to. We've cleared all the creep and whatever. So let's poke forward and see if we can kill that other base too. Again, I can tell from the your base is under attack nonsense that he doesn't have his swarm hosts over here, or his corruptors or whatever. Nice. Looks like I'm going to be able to knock down this base too. Then it'll be 4 base for him against 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Huh. Still 4v4, I guess. And there's the corruptors standing on top of the auto turrets. They're shooting them. I'm completely out of Raven energy. All my BCs get mopped. And eventually get 2 bases right here. Oh, I looked away for too long and he knocked down my 4th, so. But I think he's pretty much not mining at this point. He's probably mining fully from the bottom left expansion, and I'm mining pretty fully from the top right. And then we both got a bunch of mined out bases. I gotta clear that creep, man. But I don't want to abandon this base because I want to form PFs before I run away. Looks like he's gearing up for a... Well, he doesn't really need to knock down any of my bases because my main and my natural are already mined out. So I don't know what he's gearing up for, but got ourselves some workers and some turrets and some PFs. And we should be able to start mining right here for a bit. I want to keep my I want like a base of operations with auto turrets from my Ravens, and then keep my BCs over them and just Yamato things, and then retreat back to that, and then have a bunch of SCVs underneath to repair any damage that I take. That's what I like. So getting these double PFs right here next to that other base that he wants right to the north of his main is going to give me a staging ground to do that sort of thing. We'll just constantly deny that one base while holding these bases. And I'd like to push through the base that he knocked down over to the left, clear the creep, and then secure that base as well. But it looks like he's starting to fight this base, so I gotta repair it a little bit. Let's bring my army over here while I'm focused on it. See how much I can kill with Seeker missiles and Yamatos. Seeker missiles and Yamatos! Boom! Seeker missiles are so fun. You know what? I think his swarm hosts are close enough to a PF that I might be able to just kill them now. And he's got broodlords here too, so I'm not going to go around. But I could have, maybe. If he had won that fight, I would have gone around. But I think I can take this. I got enough BCs. Got enough 3 armor, 1 attack BCs. I'm going to put 16 on minerals and 3 on each gas, and then bring the rest over here to repair. But with all those little swarm host dudes, locusts, I might lose all my SCVs for no reason. But that wouldn't be too bad because I got lots of command centers I can remake SCVs instantly. Oh, it looks like his army moved out, and this base has not been taken by him, so good. Let's start clearing out all the creep in the world and see if we can scan and find his army. Oh, there's lots of overlords here. It looks like I might win before I set up that leftmost base. I'm not even going to get the base really close to my main. If I don't need to. I'm just going to go win. Here, kitty, 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 kitty. Where's your army, buddy? Oh, he made a big pile of static defenses and he's hiding his army on it. So once you have a ton of BCs, you don't really need Seeker missiles anymore. It's just about bunch of PDDs. I'm also gonna split off my Ravens so that they just auto follow the BCs, so they don't fly out in front anymore, and then just make a hotkey group of my BCs themselves. Looks like he's gonna go try to set up a base at the top left where I have a PF already. That's pretty funny. So I think he's not mining. So now we're just, it's into that let's chase his army around mode. Where I've got 2 200 U of BC Raven, and he's got nothing. I really like to repair all that stuff. But the locusts keep killing all my SCVs. Oh no! Spores! Yamato, 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 Yamato. I don't even really need Yamatos. It's just like, why, you know, I've got them. Might as well. And all the swarm hosts are hidden under the BCs, and they shall die. Hey, at least I finally got over here to plant that CC. I didn't think I was going to make it. I thought he would leave before this point. Bye-bye, last mining base. I wonder if I should bother to repair that PF. I don't think it really matters. I don't think anything really matters at this point. Nothing really matters. Anyone can see. So I saw this clip of American Idol season whatever, episode 1, where Harry Connick Jr. and J-Lo were there, and someone was singing, and they did a couple of runs, and they did runs in the standard way where you go up and down on just 5 notes, and Harry Connick Jr. was like, I'm not impressed by that, because that's a skill that I could basically teach to anyone in 5 minutes. And J-Lo and the other guy were like, no, it's really cool. What are you saying? What are you talking about? All this nonsense. It was pretty funny. So it was on Reddit. It was on Reddit videos, which I pay attention to every once in a while. Oh well, that's my story. And he said pentatonic, which means 5-note, whatever. And J-Lo was like, what do you mean by pentatonic? And he's like, well, you know, do, re, mi. And J-Lo's like, I'm a musician. I know about that. I meant in this context, what do you mean by pentatonic? And he like tried to explain, and she was like, oh, I'm so mad at you. And just like interrupted him and was like, we're done talking about this. That's my story. I used to watch American Idol once upon a time, but it got a little bit samey. I still really like watching the auditions, although I haven't in several seasons, because it's really funny to watch. I mean, bad people be told that they're bad, and good people be told that they're good, and have both sides not have known before they were told which one. Yeah, it's pretty funny. Come on, it's not like anything's happening in this game. You should leave now, Mr. Zergy Pants. But I can't complain, because I never leave when the game is over either. I leave when my last fighting unit is gone, because if you can still micro your corruptors and try to kill a BC, you can just set that as your own little goal. Like, I want to kill one more BC. Alright, good job.